Good morning. We're here bright and early, just after 6 a.m. today, and we got some spraying to do. So get the sprayer. We got to load. We're gonna load up once here and hit a field on the way to Berky. It's kind of on the way, and then we're gonna head to Berky and spray all our corn down there, and we're gonna drive the sprayer home. So be a quick trip, but we'll get done the rest of the V5 corn fungicide, which is now V6 corn fungicide. While we're out here spraying this last field up at Waldron, and this is some of the biggest corn that I have been in. It's a little bigger than I would like, but it's a little timing experiment here and see how much difference the late planted or late sprayed makes. You can see we got a wet hole there with some water in it. That's actually one of the spots that we replanted. I replanted that entire hole, and then we got a bunch more rain on it, and none of the replant corn grew. So this is that field that there's like 4 or 5 different spots where we put a little replant corn in that was drowned out from the initial stuff. We'll see if any of the other ones have anything actually growing in them or not, but won't be much. Corn looks pretty good for the most part. Some of it is really nice, beautiful corn, and like I said, it's bigger than what I would like to be spraying. But this will be an interesting little experiment because right now is when we have the heat stress. We're not really super dry. But at the same time, this corn's already farther along in its development. It is already set rows around, so we're not going to affect that at all. We may get some more kernel length out of it, but really we're just trying to build big factories so that late in the season we can fill those kernels out, have big kernels on our plants. Got that one done. Most of that corn looks pretty good. A little variable, but some of it looks awesome. And then there's the pockets that you can't see any of them from the road, but there's about 5 spots that don't have any corn growing in them. Same 5 spots we tried to replant, didn't work. I mean, it worked, but then it drowned it out again. So anyway, we are off to Berky. We're gonna load up. We got what are we gonna do? 4 loads down there, so about 3 loads. Made it to Berky here. We're getting loaded up. I got everything set up. We got our boron shuttle here. I got my fungicide. I got my pitcher of source measured out over there. We're gonna dump in. No Roundup on these fields. We don't need it. All of our water is coming out of these tanks sitting out here, and it's all collected from downspouts. It's all rainwater collection that we use down here. So this corn's not quite as big. Some of it is V6 like we looked at yesterday. This isn't the exact field we were in yesterday down here in Berky, but right next to it. We've got some up and down, some variation, a little more uneven here. Hopefully this fungicide helps. We also got a lot of different experiments going on. So this is my field with my source trials. So I've got strips that look like this. We're doing the S minus 25 pounds of N right here. So this pass got 25 pounds less nitrogen than the rest of the field. We're putting source on this one. We're going to do 1 round, 240 feet, and then we have another 240 feet over there with less nitrogen without the source. So that'll be a really good strip to see whether the source is doing anything for us as far as fixing nitrogen or helping the plants to get more nitrogen, I guess I should say. So we've got a strip over there that's getting some fulvic acid in it, but they only gave me enough for 10 acres. It's in that box. So when we get down to about 10 acres worth of product in the tank, then we will dump that in the top and let it agitate and spray that strip. Now you can't see it well from here, but we're down to about 150 gallons in the tank, which at 15 gallons to the acre is enough for 10 acres. Now I was doing some digging or looking at my plot protocols for the corn, and then I looked up the beans, and turns out I need some of this fulvic acid for the beans as well. So we're only going to put in 1 jug, 2.5 gallons, but at a quart to the acre rate, that is 10 acres worth. So we're going to add this into the tank now. This is what it is. They sent me this stuff to try it. It's a 101, 8% fulvic acid, it's 0.05% humic acid. I don't know. We're going to mix it or shake it up good, throw it in the tank here, and we'll make our strip. We only need to make 1 round over there with it. Hopefully that's enough. We might have just a touch left over. We'll spray out somewhere, but then we go back and reload. Yeah, this will work out. Well, I made my one round out here with the fulvic in it. It says we have 3 gallons left. That's close enough to empty for me. So this field is done, although we did not cover it all. My hands are busy, otherwise I would show you. Let me get folded up and I'll show you what we got out here. All right, so there's our strips. So we perimetered the field with just the normal mix, the fungicide, the boron, and the source. And then I did this round over here. This is the one where our nitrogen reduction is with the source. This is the nitrogen reduction without the source. Now what we need to do is come back in here with fungicide only and no source and fill these spots in, because we can't have that variable there. And so we're gonna do that. Probably our last load on our way out, we'll do that or something. Because we don't want, the only variable we want is the source and not the fungicide and the boron. So we're gonna fill those areas in. This is the round that we just made. It's got the, what do we call it? The fulvic acid in it. So that's what we've got there. Like I said, we'll fill the rest of that in without source in it on another tank load. We gotta spray this field yet. I got half the one across the road done over there. So yeah, we gotta go load up again and do it. I sprayed the field on the south side of the woods. I did a couple of loads over there because I got more trials and stuff that I'm testing for sound ag. So I had a couple of small loads that were super time consuming. I agree to do these trials in the winter when I'm like, yeah, that's no big deal. And then it comes time to do it, you're like, I don't want to mess with this stupid stuff. But they've already given me the product and I feel like I got to follow through. So anyway, we've got a load in now that has no source in it. We've got our fungicide and our boron, and we're filling in our strips. So we're filling in those spots that we need, you know, the base stuff on, but not the source or whatever products we were testing. We got one more load to spray after this, different field, putting everything in it, going and doing it, and then we're done spraying V5 fungicide, or V6 or 7 or whatever stage we're at now, fungicide. So just got these little pockets here. That's a little frustrating, but that's just the way it is sometimes. It was late when we planted this, and I wanted to get it done. Our fields down here at Berky would be great candidates for strip till that I would love to try, but it's just hard to do. The other thing that we should really make an effort to do is some stale seed bed. So we'll work down the bean stubble in the fall that's going to get planted to corn next spring, and you know, with the ripper, and then come down here with the field cultivator or the land all disc or something and level it up and make it nice and smooth in the fall. And that way in the spring we don't actually have to do any tillage. We just come down here with the planter, float across it, and plant it. I think that might help. It might help eliminate some of this unevenness we get when we have wet springs and we just can't get it to dry out timely. Loading up for the last field here. We'll actually have a little bit more than we need for this field, but one of those over there that doesn't have the trials in it, I didn't quite get done, so we'll just spray out what we got left on the way back. But yeah, good deal. It is hot. It's hot, hot, hot. When we get back in the sprayer, we'll talk about heat and spraying a little bit. Uncle Jack's here. He's working on the air conditioner on our tractor. We got that part down here for him, so he's getting that stuff finished up. That's a good deal. Dad is going to need to come back in a couple of weeks and post-spray the beans with herbicide. So it's a good thing that we're down here now and using some of the water up from our tanks. We're down right here. Not quite half of the water used up, but that way when it rains we'll catch some more water and we'll have enough to do all of the beans. Wasn't quite going to have enough to do all the corn and the beans, which is what was here. Alright, lots of things here. We've made it to the field. So, first of all, we've successfully made it to the field, which is not surprising except for that this is the field that last summer when we were spraying fungicide on the soybeans out here, somebody ran into me as I was making the left turn from this road into the field. So, you know, there's always that possibility. 2, we're spraying next to all the houses. This is our one next to the housing development. 3, let's talk about heat. So, how does hot weather affect the crops from a spraying perspective? Well, Generally, we want to spray crops in the morning when it's a little bit cooler, when they're not stressed, because it helps get that fungicide and the foliars and everything else into the plants a little bit better. The hotter it gets, the more these plants kind of shut down, they close their stomata, and they don't allow, they don't do as much respiration, bringing materials in and out, and it's harder to get the chemicals into the plants where we want them. That said, I started at 6 a.m., it's now noon, and like I just can't not spray when it's hot or in the middle of the day. Like it's not feasible to think that we're going to be able to do all of it between the hours of 5 and 8 or 6 and 9 or whatever it is. We just can't cover that kind of ground. So it's still effective. It just takes a little bit longer to get in the plant and do what we want it to do. Now, the other thing, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's getting a little bit breezy outside. As the heat of the day comes, the wind tends to pick up a little bit. Now, we're almost done spraying, but we're within the acceptable range. Like I'll pull up the weather station data here in just a second and see what our wind speed says. Last time I checked it, it was 7 miles an hour, which is fine. But the other key things here are we're spraying, it's what we're spraying, right? We're spraying stuff that makes corn grow better, not deader, right? We're not trying to kill anything. We're trying to make them grow better. And so if something was to drift onto a tree or some grass or even somebody's flowers right next to the field, it's not going to kill it. It's not going to hurt it. We don't have anything in the tank that would do any damage to it. In fact, it's probably going to make it better. That said, I don't want that to happen. I still want to keep it in my field. So as the wind has picked up, we've done a couple of things. One, we're trying to keep our boom as low as possible, and in these nice big square flat fields out here in Berky, we can get that boom height pretty low. So that helps. Two, I have dropped my speed. By reducing my speed, we reduce the pressure. When you reduce pressure, you get bigger droplet sizes. Bigger droplet sizes drift less. Now we are running our twin jet nozzles on here for good coverage, which generally take a little bit higher pressure. Like we're running 34 PSI right now. This morning when we started, we were running closer to 60. So I've cut the pressure almost in half, and that's helping. I don't want to go any more because I don't want it to affect my coverage. So for the most part, we're keeping it where we want. It's not really moving, and you know, even in the middle of the field here, it's even if it drifts a little bit, it's going to fall on the corn. It's okay. When we do the pass right along the houses on the edge over there on the downwind side, which the wind is blowing to the east right now, we'll shut off half the boom or something along that edge so that we're not spraying right up to the edge of it. So that gives even less chance for off-target movement of our product here. So those are what we're doing. We're about done. This is the last little bit that we've got to do. So before the wind gets worse or the heat picks up, we'll be done. Now that said, it is over 90 degrees out already. Let's see tonight. I got my rain phone with me, but I should be able to pull up the weather station data on it for the Berky farm here. Right up here. 90 watts, 90 degrees. Feels like 107 with 10-minute average wind speed. We're up to 9 now, so that's enough. Technically, I think I'd have to read the labels to make sure, but I think we can spray up to like 15 or 20 mile an hour winds, so we're okay. But I don't like doing that. It seems like too much wind. Well, we ran out. We had about one round that did not get any of it out here, so that'll be a good test. So over there by the woods, we're back kind of where we started today. Over there by the woods, we've got several tests with and without certain products. Over here, we've got without any of the products. Lots of data come harvest time this fall. All right, making the drive back to Waldron. The sprayer goes 35 miles an hour when it's empty, so should take us just about an hour. It is too hot to be motivated to do much. But the boys have baseball practice. You guys have fun with this baseball practice. We gotta go home and get ready. I'm gonna drop them off, then we're gonna come back. And we're gonna talk about heat on our corn. Not from a spraying perspective, but from a growth perspective. Corn likes it, but it's a little too much. We'll talk about it. The boys are at baseball. My wife's gonna pick them up on her way home from work, so I didn't have to stay. There are some pop-up showers around. There's one that way. A buddy of mine up in Jonesville just sent me a snap of it pouring down rain as he's trying to wide drop his corn. And I said, we'll send it over here because we got wide open blue skies. So we'll see if anything to the west pops up and we get a shower. It wouldn't be the worst thing. Would not be bad at all. But let's go out here across the road into a cornfield and let's talk about what the current weather situation is doing for our crops. So you can see over here in our cornfield, for the most part, it looks good. Now we've got some unevenness here. That's from all the rain that we've had before. But once we get sort of through that, corn is growing. It looks really good. It is growing very, very fast. We have entered our rapid growth stage of the corn's growth cycle here. And this corn is basically doubling in size every week, just growing extremely fast. We've got a good enough root system now. We're into our nitrogen, not only the starter bands, but also the anhydrous bands that we have put on here between the rows. And so this corn's got a nice dark green color to it. It looks really pretty good. Let's do a growth stage here, which is a little harder now because our bottom leaves are basically gone, right? Like here's the bottom leaf on the plant, but that is a pointed leaf. That is not leaf number one. And if you look real close here, we can see a dried up leaf. I don't see a dried up one on this side. I think it's safe to assume this was leaf one, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But let's say that it is. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we've got 9 leaf collars now, which puts this corn at V9. About right. I would say that looks about right. Looks pretty good. I don't see any real causes for concern. Anything our leaves, we don't have much streaking way down in the bottom of this. There's a little bit of some streaks, but for the most part, nice healthy leaf tissue. What's that? A little spot right there or something. But it looks good. And you'll notice, even though we are 90 plus degrees out here right now, this corn is not really rolled up. I mean, we got a little bit of a roll to this leaf, just flopping over, but it's not rolled up really tight. Well, that's because we've gotten plenty of rain. We are not dry right now. Ground's dry on top, but it is not dry once you get underneath. We've had a good amount of rainfall so far this spring, and it's keeping our corn growing and the stress at a minimum here. That plus the fungicides that we have put on. Now, what we know about corn is that it grows based on heat units. What is a heat unit? Well, a heat unit or a growing degree day. Basically, we use base 50 growing degree days for figuring corn growing degree days. So we take the high temperature for the day plus the low temperature for the day, and we divide that by 2, so we get an average temperature for the day, and that gives us, and then we subtract 50, base 50. And so that gives us the number of growing degree days that we got in a given day. So let's say that the high temperature is 80 degrees, the low temperature is 50 degrees, just for easy figuring. So we go 50 plus 80 is 130 divided by 2. 130 divided by 2 would be 65 minus 50 gives us 15 growing degree days, right? I'm pretty sure that's how the math works on that. Now, there's a couple of things on that. So if the temperature gets above 86 degrees, we don't go any higher. 86 is the highest temperature that we will use for calculating that. And basically, the plants will start to shut down once we get too hot, especially if moisture is lacking and we are in dry conditions. We're not right now, so this corn is loving this heat, especially being that we're a little behind on heat units for the year, and so it's growing a little bit faster, and it's enjoying this heat for the most part, but only because we have plenty of moisture. If we don't get any rain all week and it stays this hot, it's going to start to roll up, it's going to start to shut down during the day, and we're not going to grow as fast anymore. So I just looked up the high temperatures for today according to our weather station. It's right over there across the road. We got up to 95 degrees here today, which 95 degrees is above 86. The things you find walking fields, I tell you. So We would use 86 as the high. The low temperature this morning was actually 73 degrees. That's a very, very warm low temperature. And so you take 86 then plus 73 and you divide that by 2 and you subtract your 50, and we ended up with 30 growing degree days today. That's a lot. That is a lot of accumulation. They're racking up quick. So yeah, that is good. What else do we need to talk about on the corn side? I don't know. Any questions? A little bit of unevenness, but it is growing. It's growing rapidly, and it looks pretty good. We're a reasonably good crop. I would not call this the best looking our crop has been this time of year in the last 2, 3, 4 years, but it's far from the worst crops we've ever had this time of year. And we've got a long ways to go. We've got a lot of potential here yet. We've probably knocked the top end off just because of the unevenness. Some of the low ground that's drowned it out, like we saw this morning with the sprayer. We're not going to have record yields just because we have too many of those spots, but we still got good crops out here. So, summary on the corn is it's loving this heat. It's growing fast. We really like it. It's helping us catch up. Once we get above 86, it's not doing us any more good. We really don't need it to get as hot as it is. But because we've had plenty of moisture, we got that rain last week. There's potential for more rain coming here. It's not hurting us really bad right now. What it is doing is ripening up our wheat. Like, that has changed so much in the last 2 days. We went from green to, we're turning real yellow. In a couple more days, it's going to look drastically different. Wheat harvest is coming fast, and that is a good thing. This is not our earliest wheat. We've got some wheat that should be ready before this field here, even before the stuff behind the buildings there. So hopefully right around or just after the 4th of July, we'll be getting into our wheat and get some double crop beans in. I think our wheat looks really good. This spot's probably not the best here, but the heads have filled out. You can see they're starting to dry down. I imagine the kernels are still fairly green, but it's coming. Starting to turn brown and dry down. There's a kernel there. They're big and fat and plump yet. Very juicy and soft, not hard, but they look good. All right, we have one more thing we need to talk about before I wrap this one. So following up on yesterday, our irrigation pump, injection pump. Yeah, let's see. There's a lot of things I wanted to talk about. First of all, you guys all giving me your input. I appreciate that. Probably 75% of you said to buy the 360 pump, and the other 25% of you said to buy the cheapest one that you can get your hands on, because keep it cheap, right? Yep, that's about what I expected to have happen. When you put it into perspective, as a couple of you pointed out, into how many acres this pump is going to cover and the bushels that we're going to get because of it, the cost per acre, per bushel is very low. And so it's a decent chunk of money, but in the grand scheme of things, it's not terribly expensive. There was a couple of things that I sort of left out of yesterday's video that add a little bit more to my decision-making process here. One, on that motor, and trying to buy a replacement motor, so a couple of you suggested to go on Granger and stuff. I looked, and maybe I don't know how to search, but there is, on the tag of that motor, there's a frame size, like it's got a code on there. There was a catalog number, and there was a part number or some other numbers. I searched for all of those things and got no results. Even the frame size came up with no matches. It was a 53C or something. I'd have to go look at it again or look at the picture in my tag here or in my phone. But I couldn't find it. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure I could call the company that made it and get one from them. And frankly, what I would like to do is replace it and still rebuild this and then either have it as a spare or just sell it. And, it's still a good pump. There's nothing wrong with it. It's been rebuilt. It's just the motor isn't working right now. And there was another thing that I probably should go and try. Dad seemed to think that maybe it was possible that our breaker is just weak. I have a hard time believing that. I could take my amp meter up there and actually put it on the wires and test it, in which I might go up there and do that. and see if that was what was causing, you know, see if it's actually drawing extra amps or something. As far as what's causing that, I don't know. It's not a bearing in the motor. We know that. It's not the gearbox. I looked at that gearbox. I changed the oils. I even took a camera and stuck a scope inside there so that I could look at the gears. They're fine. That gearbox is good. It's a 40-to-1 gear reduction gearbox, and so I have a hard time believing that it's a torque issue or something like that. I really think it's something electrical in the motor. Somebody suggested a run capacitor. That's entirely possible. That could be. That would be worth changing and looking into, I guess. What else? One of the reasons that I think it's the motor is because it gets really hot. Even just sitting in the shop running with no load on it, I could barely touch the housing around the outside. Now it's in the shade. Now it's 100 degrees outside, so it's going to run a little warm, right? But I think that there's something wrong inside there because of how hot that motor was running. I really don't think it's a pressure issue. I don't think it's, as somebody pointed out, that it was, you know, you've got to overcome the pressure in the line, right? I've got the well pressure, the 6-inch line with water in it, and the injection pump has to pump a higher pressure than the well in order for it to open that injection valve. True. This pump has been used for 12 years. This is the 13th year with it. Every year except for last year, it was running higher pressure because when we were pumping out of the river with our Cadman system and the 75 horse pump, electric pump, pumping right out of the river with 450 gallons a minute, we were running over 200 PSI at that pump, and now we're running maybe 125. So it is definitely not a pressure issue and being too much pressure to be able to inject into that line because we've done higher in the past and it's always worked. So something has changed. I really think it's something in that motor. Anyway, this is getting really long for no reason whatsoever other than to explain to you that I bought the 360 pump. He was checking on a few things for me, but we're going to get that one coming because it's the best option. It's the most reliable option. I called one of my buddies that does a lot of irrigation stuff, and they run injection pumps with their pivots and everything, and asked him what they use and what his experience is. And he says, injection pumps, you get what you pay for. The cheaper they are, the less reliable, the less accurate they are, and the better ones cost more money. He said they run Agra inject pumps, which are the similar style to what this one is. I looked up the pump cost of just the actual pump without the control components from 360, and it was it was more expensive than any of the other pump options that I looked at yesterday. So I think the quality of this pump is better than any of the ones that I've looked at. Plus it comes with all of their controls and integration into the 360 Rain app, which I've been told that there is a new software update, maybe experimental software update that they don't want me telling about people, but sorry about your luck, 360, nobody told me not to say it, so I'm going to, but they're doing some variable rate stuff. And if we can variable rate our fertilizer, not that I necessarily want to do that or need to right now, but it's something that would give me the ability to do that, and I can figure that out. And if you can variable rate it, you can certainly document it. And I really want to get to that documentation side of it. So we're going to go that route. It's a little more money than I wanted to spend on it right now, but I think in the long run, that's going to be the better option for us. So hopefully we'll get it by the end of the week and get it installed up there. I would have loved to have been putting nutrients on this week, but we've got plenty there. It's not that I have to get it right now. I just know that I want to make 2, 3, maybe 4 passes with nutrients before we get to the middle of August, and we're going to need to get them on. If we're going to get that done, we got to start. So that's why I wanted to do it now, but it's fine. So anyway, hopefully that wraps that up, and that's where we're at with the injection pump. So today is June 24th. 4 days ago, you guys remember we were talking about beans. That was on Friday, and how important June 20th was because it was the longest day of the year, and I was really excited to find a flower. Check these beans out. Look at all the flowers. Lots of them. That's good. That's really good. And some of our 30-inch rows that were planted the first day. We got a long ways to go to canopy yet. I looked in my little canopy app, and it was about 30% coverage right now, which is, yeah, got a ways to go. But that's 30-inch rows. They'll close in. We'll get there. Just looking pretty healthy, pretty good. I'm pretty happy. I'm going to try and pull a plant without damaging it too much. Actually, I got a shovel. Let me go grab my shovel. Oh, we got a plant. I did pretty good on the roots. I'm sure we broke some off, but look at those nice big nodules. fixing nitrogen for our soybeans. That's why they got this nice color to them. These beans look really good color-wise and everything. Lots of branching, which I love. This particular plant just has one open flower. We would call this an R1 plant, beginning bloom. But had that flower not been open, we have our unifoliates. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fully expanded trifoliates, and we are working on number 7 here. So growing, putting leaves on, that's good. Every one gets a little bigger than the last ones, and eventually they will close the rows in. But what's really cool is look down here. So here's our unifoliate leaves. We're missing one. One of them got broken off, eaten off, fell off, whatever it is. But we've got this branch over here, and it's already got 2 of its own trifoliates. We've got another branch starting here with a trifoliate and another one coming, another one here and here and here. And so we're going to get lots of secondary branching on these beans that's going to give us a lot more places to have pods and, you know, nodes. And that's a good thing. So beans look good. For the most part, all of our beans look really good. I wish they were a little bigger than they are. We just grew slow for the first half of May. And so they're a little behind where I want them, but we got lots of potential. And beans are made in August. We get rain in August, we're going to have good beans. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Just keep soaking up the sunshine here, beans. Doing a little weed control in the pumpkins. You guys remember that speed and pressure discussion we had earlier? You want your pressure extremely low here. Very coarse droplets. No drift when you're spraying right next to the wife's pumpkins. Some of them are doing well, some of them are still struggling. That one looks good. And the ones over by the house that were planted earlier, they got some flowers starting there, so. I think the air is thick enough you can cut it with a spoon. It's muggy. Cooled down a little bit since those clouds went through to the north. Didn't get rain here though. Maybe something will blow up yet. There's some rain out in Indiana that's sort of heading this way. We'll see if we get any or not. So I'm not sure what's going on tomorrow. I'm done spraying corn. Dad's gonna spray beans. I might help him a little bit. Our irrigation is still running, so we just kind of got to keep an eye on that. I should go find my phone. Wonder what I did with that iPhone. It's around somewhere. If it does rain, I'll probably just shut it down, and we'll go from there on that. Could work on our corn planter. It's going to be miserable, but we could work on our corn planter. I need to go get some RV antifreeze. That might be on tomorrow's agenda too. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great night. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. We'll see you guys tomorrow.